Hey everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you guys today? I'm so excited to be with you. I'm so excited to bring you this really fun video. I'm going to do some watercoloring with our Reinkers, and it is a really fun way to color things in. So I'm excited to bring you this technique today and make you this really beautiful card with the Blessings of Home stamp set. So I hope that you'll join me because it is so much fun to do this. All right, so we're going to make this gorgeous card. You see how well it comes together. One of the beautiful things is there's a beautiful paper pack called Heart and Home Designer Series paper that I've used here for the background. This is our black and white gingham ribbon, and the label that I've used here on the front is actually from another stamp set. Blessings of Home is a beautiful stamp set. It does have a set of matching dies, and this little greenery that I've used here is out of the dies that are part of the set. There's lots of different greenery pieces, and then it also cuts out the two main images as well. But this label, I've used a second die set, and it is called Seasonal Labels Dies. This is it right here. It has this large one, but it also has a bunch of labels of different sizes. Here they are. And I have used this smaller label right here to do that beautiful sentiment. There's a lot of different labels. And then, of course, it cuts out all of the greenery that's in the matching stamp set. The stamp set that it goes with is called Christmas Season. And it is still available even though Christmas is over. I think it's a perfect winter set. Pine cones are way past Christmas, right? So they're perfect winter, and they make really good mail cards. So this is a really nice stamp set. You can still purchase it as well as the dies. So definitely check that out. If you need a catalog, this Blessings of Home is out of our new January to June 2022 mini catalog. And if you need a catalog, just let me know. I'd be happy to help you out. If you do not have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator and send you lots of great things like catalogs when they come out, frequent buyer, and just gifts for thank yous that I like to do for my customers. So anyway, give me a little shout out if you're interested, and I'd be happy to be your demonstrator. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to make this really awesome card. It uses a piece of 5.5 by 8.5 cardstock. This is a piece of pale papaya, and it has been scored down the middle at the 4.25 inch mark. So when I fold this over, it's going to crease very simple, and then I'm just going to give it a burnish with my bone folder and get it to have a nice closed piece. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to basically layer this gorgeous designer series paper on here. We're going to have this wood grained piece, and we're going to have this floral piece. And let me show you the other side. This is a different wood grain than this one. This one's actually like a plank. And then this one has this really pretty green floral image. So there's lots of really fun images in this designer series paper, so definitely check it out. It is in the mini catalog, so I highly recommend that. You can also see PDF versions of the catalogs on my blog at inkyhandswarmhearts.com before you decide that you may want one. So definitely check it out there. So you can see I'm going to go ahead and attach this wood grain piece, and then I'm going to put the floral one above it. And I'm using my seal adhesive here to add the adhesive that's needed to put this piece onto my card. And I'm going to make sure I have a nice little border all the way around. Okay, so there are my two pieces. I've also cut a piece of, by the way, these are 2 inches by 5.25 inches. And then I've cut a piece of pale papaya cardstock for that strip there, and I believe, I'm trying to think what, I think it's 9/16 by 5.25. So I'm going to go ahead and take this piece here, and I'm going to put some seal adhesive on there, and this is going to go right here in the middle on that seam. I'm going to try and make it even. That looks good to me. What do you guys think? All right, so there is our base of our card, right? Half the battle. Half the battle is won. Let me show you the inside. So I have this beautiful floral image, and then I have a little strip of the designer series paper on the inside. So let's go ahead and attach that, and then we will stamp the inside. We'll see. Give it a nice little row there of the seal. We'll put that at the bottom here. Looks like I left a little tiny bit open so that you can see that pale papaya underneath that wood. All right, and I'm gonna trim the tiny bit that's overhanging. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and grab my pale papaya ink. And I'm going to stamp that beautiful floral image. I'm going to move that out of the way while I ink this up. All right. And then we will bring that in here. And I'm going to just lay that right across here and stamp that over the top. And you can still write on it. It's just a beautiful way to have the inside of your card. So that is what we have so far. Okay, so the next stamping that we are going to do is the main floral image, which is right here. And then we're going to stamp the words as well that say, "What a beautiful day for love." So let's go ahead and stamp the words. I've already cut the label out ahead of time. And so here it is right here. I'm just going to move my stuff out of the way so I have some room on my table. I don't have a big work surface to work on, right? So we got to make use of what we have. Let me close my pale papaya ink pad because I am done with that. And grab out my basic gray, which is the color that I have chosen to stamp these words in. I wanted it to be slightly lighter than the black, but basic gray is a really beautiful dark gray ink. I'm going to bring it down here where I can see a little better. Hopefully you guys can still see. And I'm going to flip it over here and put it just like that. All right, I'm going to line up my words. What a beautiful day for love. I think this is such a pretty saying. We're going to press this down. It's great for an anniversary card or a wedding card. Oh, I inked it a little bit too hard on that one side. Let's try it on the other side. That's the nice thing, is that there's two sides to every piece of paper, right? So I just pushed a little bit too hard there. There we go. Much better the second try. All right. So let's go ahead and put that out of the way temporarily until we're ready to attach it. And then we're going to grab our tuxedo black ink, and that is what we are going to use to stamp our floral image. Here it is. It's really beautiful, and you can see that I've only used a portion of it here. So let me grab my paper. I'm going to grab some scrap. I'm going to bring that in. I've used it already on another card, but that's okay, right? Scrap paper is scrap paper. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over, and I am going to get just the top part of this inked up. I'm just putting that paper down just to save my surface in case I go off the piece of basic white cardstock that I have allotted myself. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn it sideways so that I can line this up. And I just want to make sure that I get that bottom section of the flower on there and the top one as well, and that leaf. So let's go ahead and try right there. This is a very large stamp, so it does take a little bit of pressure to get it on there. Perfect. And as you can see, I would have stamped on my surface, so it was good that I did what I did. All right, so that is what we're going to be coloring in. So let me go ahead and clean my stamp quickly, and I will show you how to do a little bit of watercoloring. When I watercolor, I like to use Reinkers sometimes. Sometimes I just use the ink pad. But today, I'm just going to use some Reinkers, and I'm going to show you how to go about it. So you definitely want to use that Memento black ink when you're doing watercoloring because it works really good for watercoloring and it does not run. So I'm just going to grab a clear block and I'm going to use this as like my palette. Looks like I have a little bit of something on there. There we go, I got it. And I'm going to start with just one drop. Maybe I'll put 2. There we go, of pale papaya. Another reason I really like watercoloring with the Reinkers is it feels like you don't really use that much ink. So these are the water painters. You get 3 different tips. You get a really thin one, a medium, and a big. And I'm going to use the medium one for what I'm doing. And then you just place water in the barrel. And you can see I already have some water in there. So I'm gonna remove that, and I use my hand usually to get it started so I can see how wet my brush is. If I do it on here, I can't really tell. My brush is not really that wet, so I'm just gonna squeeze a little bit more water till I get it flowing nicely, and I like that amount of water. So my first thing that I'm gonna do is see all these dark lines that the artist has given us. I'm gonna take this without much water, and I'm just gonna go over those pieces. Just like that. And I'm gonna work my way around, and I'm gonna just use the straight Reinker pure undiluted, well, not much dilution anyway. I mean, there is water in this brush, but it's not a lot of water because I really want those spots to be concentrated, okay? I'm also gonna do it to all of these dark spots on my other floral pieces. So just watch me as I work my way around here. I'm dipping into that really dark pale papaya, the darkest amount of pale papaya, and I'm just going over these dark spots on all of these floral images. The shadows is basically what I'm filling in. Now these down here are going to be cut away, so I don't need to do those. So with what I have left here, I'm just going to deposit a little bit of water onto my block. Can you see the water there? And I'm going to bring this and mix it. And now I'm just going to come through and I'm going to color the rest of my flower with that diluted. And if I need another little bit, I'm going to put another drop. I'm going to put some more water onto my block. And then I'm going to bring this in there. There we go. And then I'm just going to come through here and I'm going to color all of my flower, and you can go over the part that's dark. It's okay. And it's okay when you're watercoloring to also leave some pieces with a little bit of white. It doesn't have to be completely colored in. The white adds a lot of interest when you're coloring with watercolors. All right, so that is basically my floral section. All right, so let me clean off my block. I have a rag that I keep that I like to purge my watercoloring on. I also wash this. I just throw it in the wash and it comes out clean. When it gets super saturated is usually when I do it, or if I can't find another spot. So we're gonna go ahead and put a dot of the garden green. And same thing, I'm going to just make sure that I have some wetness on my hand. I like to do it there to make sure I get it flowing. There we go. That's great. All right, so I have good saturation. So I'm going to go ahead and come in here with my dark, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go over those lines. You can see how dark this green is, and it definitely takes it a lot better than my pale papaya, but the pale papaya is a really soft ink. which is Y. And then the last one is going to be down here. All right, so now we're going to take and we're going to spread some water onto our piece, just like I did before. I'm going to get it nice. I'm going to grab some green. I'm going to mix it in. I'm going to put a little bit more water. There's good. All right, and we'll start with this color and we'll see if we like it. That looks good to me. Maybe a tiny bit darker. I'm working this down and on my leaves. All right, and we'll do the small ones. I just realized that I forgot to do the center of that pale papaya. Now, as you can see, there's not as much green surface to cover as there was the pale papaya color, because the flowers, there's much more flowers than leaves, right? So this is why I like my little rag, because I can wipe off my block. I'm going to clean and purge my painter. All right, and then we're going to come back in here. I'm going to grab another dot, just a tiny one. There we go. And I'm going to mix it with some water. And I will do the center. First, I'll darken the middle. And then I'm going to add a little bit more water. And then we'll brush over the top. And there's our flower. Now, every time you watercolor, it's gonna be a little different. As you can see, it's a little bit different than this one, but that's okay. And as it dries, it will darken a little bit. So if you want more color, you add more color. It just depends on how you want your watercolor to come out. All right, so then we'll have to fussy cut that out, but I have already done that for us so that you didn't have to sit here and watch me do that. So let me get my piece. Here we go. All right, so that's already done for us. I'm going to set this to the side to dry for later. I'll use that on another card. So now we're going to go ahead and assemble our piece. So I have this. I don't know what I have done with my greenery. It's here somewhere, I know. There it is. All right, so here's my two die cut green pieces. I'm going to move this to the corner here and we'll start assembling our piece. So what I want to do first is I kind of want to place it where this is going to live and figure out where I want these petals to go. And when I'm happy with that, I'm going to actually pick that up together. Okay. I'm going to move the card out of the way and I'm going to flip it over. All right. And I'm going to hold it there. And I'm going to grab my Stampin' Dimensionals. And I'm going to put one there. And one there. That will hold it together. And then I will put a few more. And then a few more on my flower. And then I'm going to use a mini or two. And because I definitely want there to be some dimensionals on these smaller pieces that stick out. All right, I'm going to do one more in the middle here. All right, so that's good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it back over temporarily, and I'm going to use my wet adhesive. Now this is our, I call it the green and white glue, but I'm just going to kind of put some down there underneath, and I'm just going to hold it in place so that it will actually bind my flower to the label. I didn't want it to just be reliant on those glue dots, or I mean dimensionals back here. Okay, so there is my piece, and now we can go ahead and figure out where we want to place these little green pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a mini dimensional on the stem right there of each of those pieces. And I'm actually going to pull them off the backs. And then I will move them behind my piece once I have positioned it where I want it to live. You'll see in a minute. The Take Your Pick tool can only take so many pieces of dimensional backs. So I pull them all off and then I throw them all away at the same time. There we go. All right. So we're going to position this approximately where we want it, and I'm not pushing it down hard. I'm basically just sitting it there. Now this ribbon, I'm just folding it in half, like so, and I'm lifting this piece, and I'm going to stick it to that part right there of that dimensional. I think I want to move it over some, maybe. So let's give it its own dimensional like we did with the little. Let's give it its own. So we'll put one on here like that. All right, and then we'll figure out where we're gonna stick it, and we'll just stick it under there, which is what I'm gonna do with the green piece. All right, that's good there. I'm gonna move it a little bit this way. All right, so that, for the most part, it's not all the way down. It's kind of down, but I can still move it. I haven't actually pressed it fully into place because I want to stick my little greenery in there, and I wanted to get my bow. So let's go ahead and put this one. We'll put it sticking in from this piece here, and then we'll add this one from the top, and we'll put it back here. That looks good. Oh, I have a dimensional. I don't know how that got there. All right, so once I'm happy with where those guys are living, how they're gonna be, I will go ahead and position my label and my card down. And now we can press and really get those guys to stick. I'm gonna just wiggle on my ribbon there and pull on my ends a little. There we go. That looks good. I'm going to trim those with my ribbon cutting scissors. I have two pairs of paper snips. I have one that I use for paper that I use to like cut that piece out. And then I have ones that I use for ribbon, and I keep them nice and sharp. They have a little dangle on them. That's how I know they're the ones I use for ribbon. So I'll keep those in there. And that is our card. We just have to put our really pretty genial gems. And here they are. And I'm going to use the pale papaya color because I think they're so pretty. All right, we're going to start with two large ones. I'll put one over here by the ribbon and one on the wood somewhere. Yeah, probably right here. This white one looks good. It'll pop it up really good. And then let's use a small one and put it over here, because that looks awesome. Very happy with that. I think it turned out really good. What do you guys think? I think it turned out awesome. All right, so that is our Beautiful Day for Love card. I have shown you how to do some watercoloring. I think it turned out really pretty, don't you? And every single one of them is different. I'll bring this one in so you can see. Every time you watercolor, you get darker or lighter depending on what you decide you want. And as it dries, you're going to get, this one's going to get a little bit lighter or darker. But the watercoloring is such a pretty way to make your images pop. So I hope that you've enjoyed me teaching you how to watercolor on your cards with the Blessings of Home stamp set and dies. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I would love to be your demonstrator. So thank you so much for watching. I'm grateful for that so much. And I'm kind of new to YouTube, about maybe 3 months. So if you don't mind giving me a like, a comment, share, and subscribe so I can get my content out there, I would appreciate that. Thanks again for watching, and check out my blog, Inky Hands Warm Hearts. I do blog every single day, and there's always lots of inspiration on there for you. So definitely check me out. I will link it in the description below. hit my little face there so that you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I greatly appreciate you guys. Thanks again for watching. This is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. Happy stamping!